be a part of the show tonight for a couple of different reasons. The first reason, what up, YouTube? We are live. We got that video.
Yes.
We're live on Facebook. We're simulcasting as usual.
All right.
So I asked my sister to come on here tonight because I am affiliated with a couple different groups here in Milwaukee that are very concerned about health. And since we do what we like to call solution-based radio, I try to come up with alternatives, and I try to come up with answers for what's ailing us. I myself have lost several friends over the last few years to health issues. I have the generational curse myself, high blood pressure, just a smidge of diabetes. So I figured what better than to bring a professional on, and also a fellow general, somebody who I've known for a very long time. She just reminded me that I guess I wasn't that nice to her in middle school. I don't know if
imagine that.
He used to rib me, y'all. He ribbed me. I had a Jerry curl. Yeah, I did. I had, one long on the side, short on one side. I thought I was pimpish, but he let me know. He let me know that the Jerry curl was not what was up back then.
Well, it was though. We called it back then.
Yeah, but I think it was going out of style at that point. Okay, it was too wet.
Yeah, it was starting to rib. Right. Soul Glow had came out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Coming to America.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, man, I'm glad to have her here.
Yes.
As usual, it's gonna be a good time. I do have to make a camera adjustment because they can't see my lovely face. So y'all can carry on for a second.
Okay. I did just want to shout out everybody. Sound Silhouette, brother Tef, want to shout you out. 3041 North, I want to shout you all out. I'm saying? They're big supporters of the show, and we big supporters of them. If you got some business, some things that you want shout it out on the show, let us know. We certainly can do some business. We support Black businesses because I love Black people who love Black people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like he said, shout out to 3041 North and Miss Serena Brown, she does the Get Motivated, Get Healthy Facebook group, and I told her I would support her. And they are right now encouraging people to drink more water. So, I think
clean water without lead, if possible.
Well, if you live in Milwaukee, that's a bit of a challenge to drink healthy water.
Right. Yeah.
But she definitely encourages people to drink water and to eat better. So we're going to talk about a few things here tonight. The name of the show is Body and Soul, just because I like to play with words a lot. And I like to come up with different ways to approach the same topic, right? And this is nothing new. We've talked about health on the show before. We've talked about wellness, but I think wellness is something that we don't talk about enough. Like we did a show called Happy People, and I talked about the need for Black people to be happy, and Black people to smile, and Black people to have things that make them feel good, right? So I think this is one of those shows that's kind of like along the same lines. I think that we need to talk about, if you're going to be happy and you're going to drink a lot of water, what do we need to be doing in terms of our actual biology? Like, I think Black people have unique biology, right? And I think that our bodies are set up different from, I may be wrong, I got my sister here, but I think black people's bodies are set up differently from everybody else's. I think since we were kind of reared generationally on hog maws and pig feet and fat back and bacon and
all the trash,
chitlins,
all the stuff they threw away. We learned how to
all that good stuff, right?
So good, right.
I think we got to talk about how to steer clear of that stuff now. So I got my sister in here. We're gonna talk about that among some other things. Let me see your Facebook feed. That among some other things. So I want you to feel comfortable tonight and relax. And once you're part of the family now, so I watched your progress with Black Nurses Rock, and I'm very proud. I must say to you, I'm very proud. Like I said, I've known this sister for a very long time. She was always good people. She was always good people. So destined for greatness.
Nice.
Thank you. We are officially in May. We became 1 year old for our chapter.
Okay,
yeah,
1 year old. Yeah, 1 year old for Black Nurses Rock.
For Milwaukee chapter.
Okay. Now, are you nationwide?
So it is a national chapter. It began in 2014. The founder is Dr. Romitris Moss.
Wow.
So it started with just conversations. It started with online conversations, blogging about how we are treated as Black nurses at work. we are disrespected. We are not taken seriously, not only by our counterparts, but also by us. So I've had many encounters where I've been requested to switch. Give me a new nurse because I don't want that black one.
Wow.
It's happened multiple times. And so the conversations were about this. And because of that conversation started in 2014, some nurses got together. Our executive board actually got together, and this is where we are now. So we do so much in the communities as far as teaching, but also giving out scholarships. We are connected with several major organizations like big schools like Walden University. And when I just went to a Nurses Week celebration where they gave out full tuitions, they gave out $10,000 awards, $11,000 awards, because we are not enrolling like we should be, and we're not graduating at the same rate that they are graduating. So this is what we are about. We're trying to educate our community and also encourage other nurses to come in, encourage people to enroll in nursing school. Because I looked at it last week too. I'm trying to figure out, why are we not enrolling? And some people said to me, money.
Okay.
Well, I didn't have a dime when I went to school. I mean, I didn't even have a car. I had 2 kids. That's all I had. That was my value, 2 kids. So it's possible that we can go to school. So I want anyone who's interested in becoming a nurse, need mentoring to get into nursing school, come to our page. Join Black Nurses Rock Milwaukee, the community page, and we can help you. We're trying to set up mentoring to try to mentoring groups to try to help people who feel like they can't, because we can and we're of value. And to piggyback off of what you said, Kevin, you talked about us focusing on wellness. And I think one of our problems is we're too focused on illness. So we're focused on, even me in nurse practitioner school, they didn't really teach us a lot about wellness. They told us to write prescriptions. So we're writing prescriptions to try to fix a problem. Those medications have side effects. And then we're writing another prescription for that side effect. And we're not doing what we need to be well. So, we need to focus more on the wellness, as you stated, instead of focusing on the illness. So that's what we're focusing on too much on the illness. So we have to get back to wellness. And I agree with you. You said that we are a special, what did you say?
Our biology, the way we're made up.
So even when the slave master, what did they do to us? They took the biggest, strongest slave, they paired up with another big, strong slave. And so we are kind of like, I call us the super people. I mean, we are. Look where we came from. We don't think of ourselves like that, but isn't that what they did?
Absolutely.
Didn't they take the biggest, the strongest, the smartest, and so we have lost that somewhere in the foods that we are eating. You mentioned that before, like some of the food, the water, but we got a little bit of control over that, right? What we put into our bodies.
We got more control than we've ever had before.
Okay, I'll go with that. But a lot of times, if you look at with the stores in our community, like it's we got more stores that sell flaming hots and things like that where you can go get some fresh greens, right? You know what I mean? So those things are delivered as well. When you talked about the DNA of Black people, also wanted to ask you what you thought about this. I always noticed when I was younger that they would do experiments or they would find cures, but they always work with the white mice. And because that's the recessive gene, right? Right. And so what they're trying to cure is they're having cures for the recessive because they're white, they're recessive, right?
Exactly.
And so what do you think about the differences in medicine with them versus us?
I don't think a lot of them were made for us, because who's going out for the studies?
That's right.
We're not going to donate our bodies for science. How many Black people do you know? If you said, would you go to UW-Madison and be part of this study?
Man,
I mean, well, now I ain't gonna lie.
Sound like Tuskegee to me.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So now I ain't gonna lie. One time in nursing school, when I was real broke, I had this article that came about it. It said something about trying something to see if this birth control worked. And now the last thing I needed was another child. At that point, I had already had 2 at an early age. But I thought about it like, if I go up there, what are these people going to do to me? What are they? Is it really for me? So I started having thoughts that they're trying to sterilize us all, So no, so I don't think vaccinations. Some of them, I think, being in healthcare, I mean, I have seen the good in some of them, but what are they putting in the vaccinations? That's the problem. The additives, the preservatives,
and they come prepackaged. So really, even the doctors don't really even know what's in it, and you can ask them. right?
Wow.
And then they have different types, from my understanding, depending on the different type of insurance that you have and whatnot. So think about it. And I seen that face you made when I said about the white mice. You was like, this nigga going.
Well, no, because no, and honestly, I said that because if you keep up with our show, by the way, the shows are Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Saturday night, we close the week out, and that is the unhinged, unfiltered, unbossed, unbothered version of Outlaw Radio. The disclaimer goes as such. The opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio are solely those of the motherfucker that said it. So know who to be mad at, right? So when you check us out Saturday night, put them kids to bed. I'm trying to tell you, because it might go left. Now tonight, we're a little bit more constructive. We have a lady in the house, so we're going to be a little bit more careful with what we say.
Right.
But if you watch the show, you know Brother Jason is one of those individuals who, when it comes to white people and black people, he can be very, very venomous against white people. So when she said black the first time, he lit up. He was tired when he came in. Let's try to get this done. She said black. He said, "You're right on, sister." Right? So that's why I said that. But I want to go back to something you touched on in terms of sisters who are nurses. Now, the origin of nursing, right? And we talk about, and just on a personal level, Mama provided every cure. Mama gave you some shit you probably shouldn't have been taking. Mama would make you take castor oil.
Nasty.
I stuck a nail through my foot all the way through it. My grandmother put some coal oil on my foot, and my foot was bigger than that bar over there. But she said, "Hey, that's what we do, right?" And this is Mississippi.
Yeah.
So when it comes to nurses, I think about a nurse as the nurse is kind of like, and I know it's some male nurses out there. I would never really want one.
Why? No. We don't have to talk about that.
Right. Well, we will. Well, how certain parts, don't do that. Don't grab that. Don't touch that.
Cough. Right.
Right. No. Kick. No. So I'm saying that, and I know it's a stereotype, but when I think of nurse, I think of a woman, because a woman brings a nurturing nature to things. A woman can say, "Baby, listen. You need to get this," because for my blood pressure, I had a sister come in the room and say, "Listen, baby, don't you listen to these doctors. Don't you let them fill you full of them pills. You get away from some of that food you eating, and you get on you some herbs." And she had I felt so much better. It kind of eased my stay at the hospital, because I absolutely positively hate hospitals. My mom, my whole life, my mother dealt with diabetes, high blood pressure. That actually took her and my dad's life, heart problems. So I grew up with this phobia of hospitals, and I wouldn't say phobia because that would indicate fear. This was more of a hatred. So I hate when I got to sit in the hospital. But the nurses, I feel like, kind of eased the pain of the whole situation.
Right.
So you got a sister who's got that soul, a sister come in. How you doing? How you taking that, man? So I can imagine somebody say, "I don't want a black nurse." And if they do, shame on them for saying that. And when I said black nurses rock, I said, now, so this must be something where black women who are nurses that are in the medical field have found out that they've been subjugated or treated less than their white or whatever counterparts, right? So I thought it was real important, because I think anytime you got solidarity and you got unity, you're on to something. And I don't know about unionizing. I don't know if the nurses have a union or whatever. But I think if you have a collective in which you all have, you can come together and you can talk about the rights and wrongs and all these kinds of ups and downs of the healthcare field. Now, I want to talk about the healthcare field because, I seen one example of a bill where a Tylenol was like $75 in a hospital. And, you go in the hospital and you stay, and that lady, when she wheel that cart in there with that computer on it, it's hell to take to the captain, right? This is going to be a fat ass bill. Right. So you're like, damn, I don't got no money. Well, that's okay, Mr. Burns. We can work with you. Mm-hmm. But you get the bill, and it's incredible. Like now, even Freighter, they charge you for the services of the hospital as well as the nurses and the doctors. You pay those bills separately. So what it really is even if you have insurance, a lot of times your copay is so big. Yes. A lot of people just say, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna die at the house." Yeah. Like black people especially.
Real talk.
Yeah, it prevents people from going to get what they need.
Right. So, and even in our community, we've noticed that over the last 10 years, the hospitals that used to be in our communities have been removed, because what you have right now is a lot of clinics. You go into these clinics, if it's that bad, they kind of forward you on. I know when I was young, there was St. Michael's, there was Mount Sinai, there was St. Mary's, and they removed a lot of those hospitals. But lo and behold, when I go out to Burlington, or I go out to Mequon or Cedarburg or wherever I'm going, Butler, they have these huge hospital complexes. Yeah. So what does that say to me? That says to me that the health of the Black community is not first on their list.
Or ours.
Or, well, ours either. But I think that's why it's so important that we take control and command over our health and over, our own health care. And that's why later on in the show, we're going to talk about some holistic stuff.
But are we even able? Let me ask you this. As a nurse, right? Say the number of prescriptions that you are writing suddenly decreases, right? And you begin to tell people things like, you don't need this. You can just adjust your diet in this way, or you don't need this pill. If you eat more of this or eat less of that or cut this out, it'll have the same effect. How long would you have your job?
It will put some of us out of business. So it will put some, but the way I see it is that there's another type of way to do it. It's through wellness. So I can teach you how to be well, and I can make probably not as much money, but I can still live. I can still survive off of teaching you wellness. Why do I want you to be sick? I don't want to see you. I don't want you in the hospital. I don't want you there, because I care about us. And I think that there are so many healthcare disparities in our communities just from access, like Kevin just said, just access.
Absolutely.
We don't even have a lot of access. What happened to our hospitals? What happens to everything? Is it because we don't have the money to be able to go in there? It's part of it, right? We don't have the insurance coverages to be able to go into some of these places. So yeah, in a sense, it will put a lot of people out of business, but I don't want business like that. Right. That's just me personally. And I can speak for a lot of the nurses that I work with and a lot of nurses that are part of our organization, because that's what we're here for. We are here to pick up the slack. When you see our people go into these clinics and they have these every 15-minute appointments, how much are you learning? When you got diagnosed with high blood pressure, what did they say to you? Here's a prescription, take that pill. Did anybody sit down and teach you anything about the pill? I always talk about the story of the woman that I took care of, that she took the pills, high blood pressure pills, for 30 days, and then she quit taking them. I seen her again and I said, why did you stop taking your medication? Oh, I thought I just have to take those pills like antibiotics. You take it for the amount of time and then you run out. So it's a lot of healthcare disparities, education and all of that. So I would rather us not. I don't want to see us die just to keep me a job. I don't want to see us dead to, having heart attacks just to keep me employed. Because I know there's a lot of different ways to be employed in the healthcare, and a lot of it is through wellness.
It's some big pharma folks that don't agree.
Oh, they don't. Yeah, they don't. They don't like it. And don't get me wrong, I really do. I am not. I always talk about my dad. He's kind of like. He has a whole conspiracy theory about Walgreens and any drugstore. Now,
I'm with you.
I being in healthcare, I do know that there are some benefits to some medications. But with that being said, I feel like we should try what's natural first, what was given to us, what was already here, what was growing from the earth before we came.
Right.
Speaking of what's growing from the earth, now we're gonna get into that.
but we'll get into that along the lines of what you're saying. The fact of the matter is, we all learned in biology when they told us about the periodic table, right? Everything comes from animal, vegetable, or mineral, right? So whatever they're putting in the pills, they're getting it from someplace. Animal, vegetable, mineral.
Or they recreating it. They took it.
Or they're synthesizing it. Right.
Yes.
Right. But there's there's a whole nother way to get anything that's in medication.
Yes. Yeah.
Now let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. What made you initially want to be a nurse? Because, okay, in my mind, I think CNA, first of all, right? And when I think CNA, the stereotypical description of a CNA is what we call a professional ass wiper, that may not be true. Shout out to sisters and brothers who bringing it home.
Listen,
doing that. I'm not knocking your hustle. I'm saying people say certified nursing assistant. Yeah, what do they change bedpans, right? So, but you're a nurse practitioner, so you You on a whole other level.
But you had to get there.
But
right?
I started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Okay.
So listen, I started being a professional blood wiper, however you want to call it. But listen, those CNAs are the ones who spend the most time with the patients. So those CNAs are actually the eyes and the ears for the nurses. Those CNAs are giving a lot of emotional support. I've had patients that don't even want to tell me certain things, and they will tell the nursing assistant this instead of telling me. And the nursing assistant will have to come and then give me the information. Right. So it is a very important role. And that's, like I said, that's my business. That's what I do. I teach people to be a CNA. I teach them how to care. So I know that when I was a brand new nurse, if it wasn't for some of the CNAs that were with me, I don't know what I would have did, because you got to think of it. I work mostly with our counterparts. Those were all the nurses. So the CNAs look like me. Yeah. Those are the people who rallied around me when they saw me in the med room crying, broke down because I was not accepted. I was being eaten by the young. I mean, I was being eaten by the old. I was the young being eaten by the old. So yeah. So what made me get into this is my mom. So I watched my mom be a CNA all of my life. My mom, which at the time I didn't understand that she was even her own business owner, which I don't think she even looked at it that way. Right. She provided respite care for people who had Alzheimer's. So she would bring these people to our house. And I never forget I can't say no names, but I never forget a patient.
She ain't watching.
No, she's not here anymore.
She ain't got
Bless her soul. Bless her soul, Miss Jackson.
She up there with you.
But I can remember us keeping her so her family could have respite and go away. Now I'll never forget, Miss Jackson would come and she would think that the foot of my bed was the toilet. And Miss Jackson all I heard is something that sounded like water. You know, so it was my mom. It was my mom. And I can remember being a young teen, pregnant girl, and I can remember my mom saying, you need to be a nurse. You should be a nurse. So that's what it was, my mom, and it was us going to work with her teaching us CPR, just her showing me some CPR things. When I had my first job that was in dietary, I saved the man by doing the Heimlich maneuver, all because of what my mom had showed me. So I'm gonna give my mom the credit for leading me this way into the field of nursing. So that's how I got started, by watching her.
Okay. And shout out to Mama.
Right, for sure. But
she's no longer with us. My mom passed away in 2008, but yeah, she was the reason why.
Okay. That's a skill. When you talking about, I mean, I didn't mean it to be the meaning about the butt wiper, because I mean, you have to really have a sense of compassion and love for other fellow human beings, you know what I'm saying, to be able to do some of those things. And I think that the people that have that should be directed towards those type of jobs, instead of us picking a job based on how much money we can do. We got some people doing those things that really ain't got no business working with people, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
I did this. Well, I think I did it when I was 18 years old. And that job, I mean, CNAs, I don't know if you've seen some of them. I mean, we can make a lot of money because of the overtime, because of the shortages. So we can make that job helped me take care of my kids and get through nursing school.
That's what's up.
So
that's what's up.
Okay. Well, great answer.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, we talked about wellness. If you're just tuning in, it is Outlaw Radio on the Thursday night. It's Outlaw Radio, Body and Soul. In the interest of discussing Black wellness, that's the whole point of the show tonight. I wanted to say shout out to 3041 North.
Yes.
Mr. Terry down at 3041 North doing his thing. Call 810-3131, 414-810-3131 to get on the calendar. Ms. Brown, who is actually, she has the Get Motivated and Get Healthy Facebook group.
Yep.
And she is encouraging people of color to take control of their health, which is kind of like why I wanted to bring this sister on, because, you know, I want to touch on each part of Black wellness. Like, we've talked about the need for us to be happy. We talk about a lot of different pertinent Black issues on our show. The People's Network is all about the stuff that Black people want to talk about.
Come on now.
We don't give a damn about no Kardashians. We don't give a shit about Karuchi and Chris Brown. I don't give a damn about Russell Wilson and Sierra. Shout out to Sierra and Russell. No,
what do you mean?
I could give a shit less. Those are rich people problems.
Right.
What I care about is things that our people should be discussing, and wellness is entirely one of those things. If you want to live, and you want to live a long, happy life, you have to invest in it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm not a health nut at all. Let me tell you.
Just a nut.
Right. I'm crazy as hell, but I'm not a health nut. I'm nutty, but I'm not a health nut. But as I get older, and I am a man who is 40, over 40, right? 43. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm happy I made it. They told me I wasn't gonna get this far.
Yeah.
But I'm looking now at, damn, I want to live to be able to pick up my grandchildren.
Quality of life.
Run around, at least walk around in the yard with them. I don't want to be, broken all the way down when I'm older. So I'm thinking now I have a lot of bad habits that I need to break.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to invest and get involved with people who have inside information about our wellness. Shout out to Kamar Carter. We have a podcast coming up called The Warrior Report, in which we're going to discuss wellness. It's going to be like the main part of the show in talking about wellness. Now, with wellness and health, there's physical health, there's mental health, there's sexual health. There's all kinds of different levels to this. So my brother and myself will give you the fat and the skinny part of it. But tonight we got my sister, Octavia, Manuel, Wright.
Yep.
Right.
All right.
When I went to school with her, she was just Octavia Manuel. So shout out to your husband.
Right.
He made you put a ring on it. He made you put a name on it. But so she leads the organization, Black Nurses Rock. And we're going to be discussing several different things here tonight. We had a short discussion about holistic medicine, which I do want to discuss coming up. But I wanted to say something. I know Saturday night is when we normally cut loose. And I will cut loose on Saturday night. Right? But CNN came here to do a documentary on racism and segregation. Kamal Bell, I think that's his name. He's a blogger. He's a comedian. He's been involved in several different movies and stuff like that. And I don't have anything against him. I don't give a damn about CNN. But and if you live here and you needed to watch that show to be informed about the hypersegregation and the racism and the poverty in this city, you must never ever come out your house. You must never pay attention to anything that goes on around you. So I want to say, people say, well, 5 things that it showed me. And I'm like, you from here, what the hell could it possibly have showed you? Especially if you've been here more than 5 years. I wasn't invited to be on it. I ain't mad. I didn't see people who were important, people who represent Milwaukee on there. I ain't mad. I'm not mad at all. The exposure is a good thing.
Did they tell the truth?
I guess they did. And shout out to the people who were on it. People like, oh, he's mad because he wasn't there.
No, they
I am.
the truth.
Yeah, I'm mad. Hell yeah, I'm mad. Because I grew up here. Right. See, a lot of us from here didn't see it because we didn't have to watch it.
Well, but then a lot of people never been anywhere else. They from here, that this is their normal, right? I remember the first time I left here and I happened to go to Georgia and I went to a little suburb called College Park.
Okay.
And it just blew my mind because I was driving down the street and the grass was cut and the streets was clean and it was people out there washing they Benzes and they Jaguars and it was black people.
Right.
I went downtown where they had great big skyscraper buildings in the downtown metropolitan. People was moving around and I didn't see one white person. Right. To me, that was a culture shock because but it does exist. But if this is your normal, you don't know.
We also have a county executive here who said that the county decided collectively that racism is a health crisis, a public health crisis in Milwaukee.
When did that start? Huh?
No shit, Sherlock.
So do you know, like last year, right around the time when the vice president of Black Nurses Rock, shout out to Ebony, when we decided to bring the chapter here, we had just went to it was a talk at Marquette University. Have you ever heard of David R. Williams? He came up with, he was a sociologist. He came up with a scale to measure, is racism making us sick?
Right.
So it was like a TED talk and it was something else, but that was the driving force, behind us saying, you know what, we need to get a chapter here because it is making us sick. Right. Racism is making us sick. So part of our wellness is what can we do about that? Like part of because it's happened to us from the time that we were born. From the time that we were born, we have to deal with this and it's making us sick every time. Every time we have to deal with it, it's traumatic. It's, we got to be defensive. Now we got to defend ourselves. So what is that doing to our blood pressure, our heart rate, all of this? It is making us sick.
Well, now shout out to my brother here. Y'all can't see him. He's off camera. You can scoot in because I want them to see her Black Nurses Rock. So if people say, what the show about? Black Nurses Rock. I know you got to tell black people stuff 4 or 5 different times.
Good.
But we actually did a show about what causes hypertension. And I'm glad you're here because you can actually correct me if I'm wrong. There was a hormone that usually triggers off the fight or flight response, in which your body secretes adrenaline, and it gets you going, it gets you jacked up, to put it in layman terms. And Black people, due to the stress and the I gotta stay on alert at all times, their pancreas, that hormone is secreted over time. So basically, it shorts out your pancreas and affects the way your body processes insulin, which brings on diabetes, which brings on hypertension and blood pressure, right?
Yep.
So we were saying that, Black people are always on edge. And like right now in Milwaukee, if you ride down the street, you got to be on edge, because we got stolies, and you might get pulled over by the police, and it might be your last time getting pulled over. You never know what's going to happen. So that's why I think it was, when we did the show about what's actually killing us, like, why are we so disproportionately affected by these health issues? We see our old people, and they're led like they feet swole, and they can't walk, and they can't move. And Big Mama is Big Mama for real. Big Mama about 450 pounds.
Right.
Big Mama's never invested in wellness, but at the same time, generationally, I don't think that the knowledge about us and how to maintain and how to take care of ourselves was given to us. For a long time in America, cigarettes was like gum.
Yeah.
Everybody smoked. It
was encouraged.
Right. I mean, athletes in the locker room, he's smoking a cigarette. Fast food. We don't have a whole lot of health food outlets in our community.
No.
You can go and get a burger. You can go and get a sub. And I look at some of the
99 cents.
I look at some of the stuff they offer us on commercials. At one point, Arby's had a pork belly sandwich. I swear, I said, "What the hell?
We got the meat.
We got the meat."
The kids are eating Flaming Hots for breakfast.
Exactly.
My kids that I teach are eating Flaming Hots for breakfast.
Right. Now, you couple that with this water. I talk like cognitive dysfunction, and we shout out to Robin Miranda,
yes,
and
sir.
Flack, and Chris Johnson, and Kingfish MKE, who is a friend of the show.
Yes, sir.
Brother Miranda's been on here talking about the water crisis, which is something else that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of the lead poisoning. But when we talk about our children and why they act the way they act in school, I've been involved in education and social services for about 18 years. So I've worked very closely with our young people. And, you step back a couple times and you looked at the kids and say, something ain't right. Something in the water. We didn't know that was literally something is in the water. Now you couple that with a lot of kids who are not eating like they should be eating. Of course, their cognitive functions are off. Of course, he can't pay attention longer than that in school. You wonder, like, back when I was young, a kid who cussed out a principal or a teacher, it was there, but it was very unique. You didn't see it a lot. Now, you come walking down the hallway in the school, kids act like, hey, look, you say, hey, what's up, motherfucker? At least call me Mr. Motherfucker or something. So the way we eat, even prenatal care, Milwaukee has a infant mortality rate that's on pace with third world countries. I like to blame that on the fact that young sisters or sisters who are about to have babies don't get the proper prenatal care. So you bring these babies in, and you're not, your mind needs food and water and the proper nutrients to develop properly, right? Or else you get a chemical imbalance. So how many kids do you see, or how many people do you see come in that you deal with and you say, your main problem is your diet? It's mostly what you're eating. It's not about the pollution in the air. We don't know about the water, the long-term effects of the water, but how many people do you see that just addicted to Whoppers? Like 99 cent,
all day,
processed food,
all day. So I was also a school nurse, and then I became a nurse practitioner in the school system. So one of our local high schools. So that's what I seen. Kids would come in. I'm dizzy. I don't feel good. What did you eat? Well, yes, last night I ate some Flaming Hots. This morning I ate some Flaming Hots, and then I ate a donut. Little Debbie. Little Debbie been out here killing people. So Little Debbie snack cakes, that's the favorite process. So it is. And even when I look at my adults that I'm treating, I go and I do wellness visits as a nurse practitioner. I just came from one on my way here. Same thing. So I go to different people. So I just came from Oak Creek. So you know who lives in Oak Creek. When I ask them, what are you eating? I don't have to do any education. I don't have to do any education when I ask them what are they eating. They eat mainly fruit, vegetables, drinking water, exercising, walking. When I come and ask one of us, what are you eating? I have Popeyes. Popeyes, Wendy's. So why? And so when I say you should exercise every day, you should walk. I walk at work. Besides work, we need to do like 4 to 5 days a week, moderate, not just slowly walking to your car. Moderate, moderate pace exercise. Get your heart rate up.
Yes.
So yeah, I just see it's and sometimes for me being a healthcare provider is saddening because I'm teaching, I'm talking. The young people I feel like that I teach the CNA to, they kind of listen to me a little bit because I tell them about my eating habits. So some of them look at me and say, "Wait a minute, you don't eat meat, Miss Octavia? You don't look like you ain't eating meat." But I took away.
Well put. Well said.
But I tell them,
why you making faces, Benny? That's Benny.
We all concur. High five.
You encourage me.
So, but I tell them like the way my body is, that's just how it is. But you can't see the inside, what it looks like. But I bet you that my inside looks better than your inside, and I'm older than you. So that's how I challenge them. I challenge them. Just cut out meat for once a week. We're not made to eat meat every day like that. We're not. Okay. So I'm not saying don't eat any meat because everybody won't be like me. I'm sure of it. But we don't look at what they're doing to the meat. That's the one. Have you ever looked at any of those documentaries like Food Inc. and what's the other one? I forgot the name of the other one that I watched. Super Size Me. It's another one that just came out that I watched like maybe it's 2 years old. I forgot the name of it. But if you look at what they're doing to the meat, look at the chickens. They can't even walk. The top is so heavy because they filled with antibiotics and hormones. They falling over and then they dying before they even go grab them for you to. So they going to pick up dead chickens out the coop and then peeling out and then still feeding it to us. You look at some of the documentaries.
Extra wings.
I want to talk about meat. I want to talk about
the hormones.
I want to talk about the meat though, because I like steak. I must be honest. I'm not ready to remove steak. Like
you don't have to.
Okay, because the protein. But
you don't have to eat it every day.
No, and I can't afford to. So that's a good thing.
And then you can get protein from your vegetables. Spinach is filled with protein.
Yeah, but it don't quite cut like a steak.
Put some on top of the steak at least, right?
Now they just came out with a study the other day that said kale and spinach.
Kale.
That's bear meat, y'all. We ain't talking to ourselves.
Those are the worst vegetables.
The worst.
Well, we're gonna. My wife went through this thing where she said, "I'm not eating meat anymore, just chicken and fish, and just chicken and fish, right? And that's all she eats." And shout out to her, but she gotten a little bit more curvy since she's not. It didn't. I say, "Oh, you finna dry up like a prune." Nah, she gotten a little bit more curvy behind it. So
we gotta make sure, if you're packing on more carbs on top of that, then no, we're gonna. Because when I first started to be vegetarian, that's what happened to me. I exploded almost. So it's like we had to because I was, and then you have to look at what else are you eating. So you can be a vegetarian and be so unhealthy.
Right. Okay.
You can eat donuts, cupcakes.
Still get rid of the starches.
Yeah, we got to get rid of the simple carbs.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get rid of all of the things that we're eating.
It's actually screwed up my barbecues because, like
she can put vegetables on the grill.
Right, she does, and she does, right?
I've seen somebody grill some watermelon.
I've seen that too, but I think that's a crime, and shame on you for doing that. But I'm saying we are so confused about what to eat because we have these Dr. Sebi
and that's where I was
maniacs, right?
Well, speaking first of all, because Dr. Sebi is one of the things that I've noticed that got the attention of a lot of Black people, right? Which I think is positive. So what do you think about it? Speak on what do you think about Dr. Sebi?
I agree. I'm confused about it too. And if I can remember the name of the documentary that I watched, they spoke on that and they said like all of these keto, Atkins, all these different things. Right. Those things are messing up our metabolism. So I can't speak specifically because I haven't studied Dr. Sebi because when I looked at a few points on there, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew that was
fasting. He's gonna start out right away with fasting.
I knew that wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that there's any benefits to the intermittent fasting because I really believe there is, but I just feel like to keep it basic, and this is what I do for my patients when I talk to them. They're not going to follow all of this crazy stuff. It's too hard. What are we thinking about every day in the Black community? Just trying to survive.
Just trying to survive.
We need to just
what we gonna eat.
Yeah,
what we gonna
eat.
feed the kids.
We know we living out here in food deserts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to tell them to do the best you can. So frozen vegetables. If that's the best you can do, That's all. That's better than eating flaming hot.
Oatmeal's
It
better
is.
than no milk.
So do
It
the best.
is.
Try to do, and I say try to keep it balanced. Try not to do fried. If you gotta have your meat, bake it. Don't fry it.
Get your air fryer.
So yeah, or air fryer.
get
There
you
we
one.
go.
Yeah.
So I try to tell them to try to. So I don't, because if I go to them with some unrealistic things, they're not gonna do it. And as soon as I walk out the door, they're gonna close the door and say, "She crazy. I ain't doing
Right.
that." You
I
know?
bet you bacon.
She got a Whopper in the car.
Right. Look at her. She
got a Whopper in the car.
She thicker than a Snicker. She ain't eating no vegetables. You know.
She said thicker than
Yeah, she said it. I love that, girl.
That's been said to me.
Okay.
Somebody has said that to me. You
Jason just basically, she said it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know.
I didn't say it. Well, you damn sure must have been thinking it.
Well,
but that's what they say to me when I say I don't eat any meat.
Right.
Eat any meat.
Hey,
and
look.
because of that, I made a Instagram page called Easy Plant-Based Meals, so people can see what I eat.
seen that.
now I'm gonna have to look at that
It's so easy.
Because we friends on Instagram, but I don't think I joined that group because I seen plant-based. I said, I'm out of here.
You gotta try.
Right.
It's so easy. You can make a vegetable taste like whatever you want, but don't put all that salt on it.
See,
But you can make it- you
there
can-
we go. There
You
we
can
go.
make it taste like whatever you want.
I had a
Because we have natural. So now that I'm learning about the natural herbs and doing this herbalist stuff, like it's different if you go get some basil in a dry, container from the store versus just actually getting some fresh basil and cut. It's a whole different taste to it. Like you want to eat that. It smells like meat. Like you'll be thinking you eating meat.
Well,
I'm telling you, you'll be.
I had a vegetarian point this out to me. He said, why you get your meat? I was eating a steak. He said, you take a whole bunch of stuff on it and put it on it to make it taste like vegetables. Like, you think about all the seasonings that you put on it is vegetables.
Basil, parsley.
too. So, well, yeah.
I'd have told him to get the hell out of my face. First of all, you vegetarian, you screwing up my meal. Go on somewhere. Eat an eggplant. You did. But no, I mean the salt is what has us so screwed
So
up.
why
We're salt intolerant. Like that was not for us.
What is the need for salt?
We don't need it. I mean, we do.
You need iodine.
It's
We
cultural. It's cultural.
We do
though.
need salt, but we don't need what we add. No,
It's already salt in it.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't need what we add. We adding too much now.
That Lawry's is kicking y'all's tail, man. Stop.
Stop acting like you ain't
I
done.
don't eat Lawry's.
Me
I don't
either.
eat no salt on my food.
Well, they put it on before they brought it out.
That's my point.
Right,
That's why
don't
I
add
eat
Come
salt.
on, son.
They
Man, you done ate wings. Come on now.
Yeah, they put
Then
it
this
up
brother
on
done
there.
went into a bar and it's vodka and wings. That is the health concoction of the night, right? So get back, son.
Those be my cheat days,
And so,
right?
and that's why and for some people, that's why they say don't season it before. But that's how we learn.
Well, man, come on.
That's what makes ours different from other folks'
Yeah.
food. When you go to, I ain't gonna. I
Right.
don't wanna,
White people
I don't
don't
wanna-
season their food.
I'm
Look,
trying not-
we're
I'm
not
trying not
politically
to
correct here.
offend
You can go in.
But
If they watching it, they used to how we
They-
talk on
Right,
here.
for sure.
It's called Outlaw Radio for a reason.
So they food don't taste like how because
Yeah.
we were taught to season it first. But guess what? That's why we sitting over here with high blood pressure.
That's true.
That's why we're
That's
sitting
true.
over here with diabetes because that's another thing. Like I said, lack of education. We learned a different way. But then when I think about that, sometimes I get confused because from the South, they cook like how we cook.
Right.
All of them,
Right.
everybody.
You see
They
Paula
learned
Deen?
from us. She learned from
She
us.
fried so much chicken, she went to holler nigga
Yeah,
in the
she-
kitchen. She thought she was black.
They,
Nigga, where the lard at? What? Whoa, Paula, you white. Oh, I'm sorry. Shit.
they learn from and they love our food.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they like it,
Soul food is a delicacy now.
but they don't eat it every day. That's
Okay.
the difference.
Okay.
And that's real talk.
That's the difference. They don't eat it
Okay.
every day. You eating hog maws and chicken backs and
yeah.
pig feet
yeah.
and all that stuff.
First of all, let me tell you, it's 2018. I better not catch your ass eating no hog maw. Listen, I go.
I don't know
listen,
who eat them. I never could. I remember I got
my
a
mama
woman-
would make them, but
Uh-uh.
that she was from the
You
Jim
ate them,
Crow
you ate
South.
them pickled
Uh-uh.
pig feet.
Never. Moms
Pig
would
ears.
skin one back. I never understood eating the pig's feet,
Oh my God.
or the tail, or the ears,
The
or the
snout,
snout.
right.
Oh my God. Have you ever
no.
heard of a fried chicken? One time I got a whooping because I wouldn't eat it because I was from North
Uh-huh.
and that was South. And they was like, you going to
Fried
eat that
chicken.
fried chicken. You going to
Fried
eat that.
That's a slow death.
I
right
ain't
there.
eating
That sound like something.
Fried. And I ate my mama's chitlins. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I could never.
I look a vegetarian in his
They
face
get-
with some hot sauce on that fork, like
They get stuck in your
As
throat.
soon as I learned what it was,
Don't
that
eat
was
it.
good enough.
you ain't supposed to just swallow.
They just slide down
swallow
your
the
throat.
whole chitlin.
They slide down your throat. Don't eat them. poison. Don't do it.
There's so many different ways I can go with that. It's terrible.
And I'm glad you're leaving them all alone.
It's terrible.
It's Outlaw Radio on a Thursday night. If you're tuning in, we got my sister here. She's from Black Nurses Rock.
Yes.
Shout out to Serena Brown and the Get Healthy, Get Motivated group. Kamar Carter.
Yes.
With the Heal Thyself Facebook group.
Dante Chestnut.
With DAMG
Yes, sir.
Who else supports us? You said you had somebody else who you want to shout out that's in the Sherman Phoenix.
Oh man, and I don't even want to say the name wrong, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I got you. I'm looking at that.
Right. You gonna find it. Man. Now, my sister, you got something going on in the Phoenix as well.
Yes.
So me?
Yeah.
No. Well, I got the apothecary. It's not mine. It's Angela Mallett's.
Okay. Angela
Mallett. What I want people to do is, we were talking about pharmacies when that came up, and I can remember a post even that she wrote. Like, imagine if we had as many apothecaries as we do pharmacies. And for those who don't know what apothecary is if you look at the definition of it, it was someone who dispensed medication, but it was more natural herbs and things of that nature, more healing things. So there, it's called Honeybee Sage. It's in the Sherman Phoenix, and they sell. If you go in there and tell her an ailment, I know she's out right now because she's ill. Get well soon, Angela. But if you go in there, you will, and you tell her, I have high blood pressure. She can tell you something natural that will help with your high blood pressure. And we spoke about that earlier. You can't wait until you about to have a stroke. Right. You have to start, when you look at natural healing things, you need to start that now before you get sick. We should be doing it every day. You know, there's certain teas that you can get up and drink, ginger tea, something you can get up and drink every morning that will help to lower your blood pressure. So
okra water.
Okra water. I've heard of that before too. So garlic. They talk about garlic, and you know that's cheap and available everywhere. That
I usually put garlic in my spaghetti though, and it's laced with ground beef, so I don't know if that's defeating purpose.
No,
some good and some bad.
Right. I'm telling you, I got bad habits. You know what? I'm fortunate enough I was raised on that soul food because, like I said, both of my parents were from the deep, deep, dirty South.
Dirty South.
The dirty South, right? So we grew up. My mother, if she ain't frying it, it's in a slow cooker or pressure cooker, or she's gonna bake it in the oven. But most of the food, the meat, was fried in our house. Pork was something that we ate on a daily basis. We were not really concerned about how we ate, and she said, you eat, boy, you better eat, because she didn't want,
and don't waste no meat.
She didn't want little wimpy sons. So as a result, me and my brother was both double stuffed extra size because my mother believed that, you know, a man should be brawny, he should be wide shouldered,
200 pounds at least.
Right. So, she like, I want no wimpy man.
A whole nigga.
So
a whole lot of niggas.
Right. So to prevent those things, don't you think we have to change? I mean, because that's how my family is. My family is from Jackson, Mississippi. It's the same thing. Okay. So for us, we have to do something different. We can't do the same thing. So everyone who has passed away in my family, my grandma, my mother, my grandfather, my uncle, they all had strokes. They had strokes. They all had high blood pressure. Yeah. My mom had diabetes. She had, so my aunt had diabetes. She died from heart. She's the only one that died from heart problems. But it's all in the same family. It's all in the same family. So, and they look at me when I go and visit in Mississippi and my eating habits. I have been doing this since nursing school, like eating different, trying to make changes. Because if all of these people in my family are no longer with us, they all had something in common. Right. What they were doing, what they were eating. Right. I didn't see my mom get up and go exercise. Right. Never. You ever seen your mom go to the gym?
No, she ain't had time. Right. She's too busy raising her knucklehead ass.
Right. But we still have to make time for self-care. Me too. I'm always busy. I do multiple things, various things. I've raised my sons. They are older now. They're grown now. But they've seen me try it. At least in the living room, I'll put videos in and be, I probably wasn't doing it right, but I was doing the step. I was doing the squats. I was doing
is better than
so that. They've always seen me. Now they'll make fun of me like, you finna eat that ice cream now? After you did that? No, they'll catch me.
Well, that's why I did it. So I can eat the ice cream. Right?
Mama worked out and ate a Whopper. She worked out.
But you know what? But even then, my house was different. We didn't have soda. So my kids would sneak out and go to my mama's house and drink soda. We didn't have red meat at my house. So they would sneak out and go to their grandparents' house. So I've been doing it since my children were little. Well, now they eat Whoppers and stuff now, but when they were little and they were like me. They did what I said because they had to. They didn't have a choice. Yeah. So we have to start making changes. And it starts at your house, at our house, because what our kids see is what they're going to do. So now what I see, I don't know if you guys see this. A lot of people are not who cooking soul food. Not me. I ain't cooking.
No,
soul food.
I think we
So
learning.
now-
We learning.
But what are they cooking though? They ain't cooking.
We
They
saying
cooking.
that like that's a good thing.
Cook, no, but I'm saying because we don't have time.
I know, but I still
Won't have time.
And
You just stubborn.
my wife
You gonna go kick in the
make some
street.
collard greens with some turkey neck in it. Put a neck bone in that
Well,
joint.
I made stir fried collard greens. My collard greens are stir fried.
Hey,
Lord.
Cut up with onions in it.
Oh Lord.
That's
I
it.
like that.
Stir fried. Yeah.
I feel like you got to die from something.
But you don't want to die like that.
I want to die
I mean,
full.
I
I want to die hungry. I'm so damn
I
hungry.
seen it.
What's your last wish?
Come back to
pizza.
You ain't gonna have no left foot, no right foot.
Right.
I will have a sandwich.
I'd rather be able to walk to the
Somebody
refrigerator.
push
and
my
get-
ass up
get
to
some
cousin
kale.
so I can get me a roast beef sandwich.
So you sound like my husband. So I tell him, okay, I'm not gonna be pushing the wheelchair. Who gonna push it?
Oh, that's cold-blooded.
If death do us part, but I ain't pushing that wheelchair.
Oh Lord.
You don't have to work it
I'll
out.
get an electric one just to run your ass over all through the house and chase you.
And so
Come here, girl.
And
With
so,
spikes on the
and
tie.
so let me tell you why I say that, because when we know better, we should do better.
This is
That's
real.
So you know
That's
better. So we gotta do better. We have to do better. We have to.
So let me ask you this,
But I want to tell
We
people
fighting for our life. We
this is
fighting
real.
for our
This
we
life.
is
we are simulcasting on our YouTube page.
Absolutely.
I want to tell people, shout out to all the people who went and subscribed to the YouTube page, because we actually need to support the People's Network on YouTube. It is the premier imprint for the 414 on
Come on
YouTube. People got to understand we are the underground. We're the underground heroes, man. We're the underground kings. We're the people's choice on here.
We've been getting
Not
a
a lot
love
of
too.
not a lot of love.
Yeah.
I've even been in public and people say, Radio Man.
Right.
I turn around and who the hell you talking to?
Yeah.
Radio Man. So shout out to you, man. If you're showing the show love, shout out to you if you support the platform.
That's right.
If you have a business or if you have some sort of event that you want to promote, holler at me.
Do it.
You can inbox me on Facebook. My personal Facebook page and my government name, Kevin Barnes, Barnes. You can holler at me, inbox me. We can work something out. Teamwork make the dream work. So
if he's too busy,
right.
talk to Teach, Listen, and Learn. I can
Thank
help you out too.
and he warned me about stop just giving out your shit. You don't ever give out mine.
Well, because I know you're a busy man. You know,
Right.
your plate is full with steak.
Right.
But
You're right. And a potato. Don't forget my potato.
Also, I wanted to say I give a shout out to Shindig Coffee because you asked me about it to
yes.
Sherman Phoenix. They told us they're a supporter of the show, man. Shout out.
Those are my people.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's-
Joanne. Hey,
that-
Manon.
That's love.
Manon, you
Yeah.
didn't even know how to say his
Yeah.
name. The man gave you support, Julie. That's how you
Right.
repay it.
Listen,
They
Nigga
are,
named Paul.
thankfully you was here, right? You know what I mean?
they are awesome people. Like if you have
Yes.
not met Joanne and
Talk about
Manon, Sabir, I mean, they're just some awesome people.
Yeah.
I've not been in the Phoenix yet.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you?
I just
I got a
went about a
problem.
month ago.
Yeah, you
First
better
time.
get in there.
So
A lot of people have told me that you need to go. You need to go in there.
just go.
And
Go get
I
you some
think I need
spring
to
rolls
go in
or
there and pass out our rate cards
Yeah.
and say, holla at us.
Man,
Get with us.
let me tell you.
But it's Outlaw Radio
Yes.
on a Thursday night. In case you just tuning in, we're talking about wellness and health. I got my sister Octavia here. She represents Black Nurses Rock.
Dropping knowledge.
Yeah.
Good.
If you want some real pertinent information, you want something that's true, you got to go to the source. So I didn't want to just get some ghetto theorist who, well, I tell you, eat bananas. I want to get somebody who I
got
knew.
potassium.
Yeah, because I have to think about the people who I actually know. I know a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, and I say, you know what, I can probably pick somebody in every field to represent. So to share knowledge with our people. Like I said, it's just information that's pertinent to us. This is not a show for really young millennials, right? Because I'm not really talking about Old Town Road and Lil Nas X and all that bullshit. Even when I do go with hip hop, I'm the hip hop snob, so I represent
Yes, he is.
the '90s hip hop and the classic hip hop.
Savant.
Right. I'll go in on that. I don't really
Real
know
music.
too much.
Yeah.
Right. Well, these
Real
little
music.
dudes who my son be trying to get me to listen to, I'll be like, nah, son, I'm cool. So yeah, man, real grown up radio, solution based radio.
Emo rap, huh?
Yeah, well, that's your thing. I'll let you listen to that. You into that. Shout out to 3041 North, 414-810-3131. We get a
Yes.
lot of love from Mr. Terry
Yes,
and Miss
sir.
Brown. Miss Brown has the Get Motivated, Get Healthy Facebook group. She has an event coming up, and I really want to ask my sister, if she'd be interested in, I don't know, maybe there'd be a way you could even go and speak to the, because it's about, this is like, I don't have the exact date.
Okay.
But I said I ain't gonna rush to it. I got to make sure I can get her on my show first before I book her for somebody else's event. So, but there's always opportunities for the knowledge you have to be brought to the people. So I just kind of wanted to, with Miss Brown, before I spoke, I wanted to let her know, hey, Black Nurses Rock is an organization that will come in and talk about health and wellness, and because people do one of two things, but they rarely do both things. Either they stop eating something and don't exercise, and then wonder why they didn't lose weight, or either they exercise but still eat the same, and then wonder why they don't lose weight. Right. Then they get disgusted and just quit trying.
And just say, I'm going to eat everything.
Right. Go give me some pork skin.
Give me some donuts. Everything.
Right. So shout out to Kamar Carter, too. The Warrior Report is coming. The Warrior Report is coming.
And just so people know that we all go through those changes. So my thing is, I can always eat right. Like, it's nothing to me. But exercise is a struggle because of my schedule. Okay. So but I still say there's no excuses. My motto is excuses are useless. I bought myself, because my husband said he wouldn't buy me no more exercise equipment.
You ain't
turned to dust.
Something else for me to hit my damn foot on in the dark.
So I had to buy my own machine. So there is no reason that I can't get up. And so you have to talk to yourself. We all have to. So nobody is perfect. So even when you see me standing here saying, let's eat vegetables, I still might slip up. And like today, I went and bought my students some cupcakes, and here I am. I had a banana right here, but they had some cupcakes right here, and it had some whipped frosting on it. I mean, so but this is something that we can't do every day. So right. This is something that's an everyday work. So I don't want people to think that it just happens like magic. It's steps to it. And we are human, right? So some days you are going to falter. We're going to get shaky, but you got to keep going. You can't just say, forget it. I'm finna just go and keep eating donuts. I'm finna go and keep eating this fried chicken. Let me go pour this whole container of salt on this meat.
You've been looking at my house or something?
Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can do it better.
Right. Yeah, but if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
But what you trying to do? You trying to do something.
I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm gonna cheat, so you'll know I'm serious about it.
Don't listen to him.
No, he don't even listen.
It is consistency. So that's the thing that it's about consistency and keep trying. And when you stop and when you mess up, just keep going, don't stop.
That's what's up. Now. You all, you have events, but I want to say this. You were talking about exercise, but like we're Facebook friends, we're Instagram friends. I seen you like running marathons like you was out there. I said, look at her. Whoa.
Let me tell you the story. I've run 4 half marathons and countless of 5Ks.
What's up?
So let me tell you what made me retire.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to become, it's something that's called a half fanatic. Runners out there know what I mean, where you have to run 3 half marathons within 90 days. And I did it. But that last one, my toenail fell off.
Damn. Oh,
when my toenail fell off, I had quit. It was over. That moment. I had said, oh my God.
You had those things that you were thinking about it.
Did you running in sandals? How did you know your toenail fell?
Because after I got done running and I took off my running shoe, I'm like, something don't feel right. I pulled the sock off and the toenail was in there. My husband said, I married you with 10 toenails. I said, he married me with 10 toenails. So it grew back.
What's the herb for that?
My toenail grew. At that point,
you need to smoke some real herb for that shit right there. You got to roll one up in your toenail
and blow it on your toe.
So after that, I had retired. I hung up the running shoes. I had retired. But now I'm trying to slowly get back because you know what? There was a difference when I was out there because it is the endorphin. So it's the good things that come out, and I noticed, and it is true 100%. When I exercise everything, I didn't need the blood pressure pills. When I got up and I was getting up at 4 a.m. It had become a habit. When it becomes a habit, it had become a habit to the point where my husband would be like, "It's dark. You getting ready to go out there?" No, he was trying to make me. I'm like, "You jealous? You mad because you?"
Wow.
So,
wait.
But
what was his response to that?
He was like, "I ain't even deal with you. Going out there. Somebody kill you. You just gonna get killed."
And when you wake up dead, you gonna learn. I'd be like, "Here, just take my pistol."
Right.
Take one of them.
Don't trip.
But it does. So once you get into that groove, like and I've seen that my greatest. I felt the best when I was doing the eating and the running together. So I may not go back to exactly running. It might be a wall.
Trot.
Like, yeah, a wall.
You gonna climb the wall?
A walk jog. No, it's a wall.
A wall, not
wall.
You're out there doing
A wall.
You're gonna be power walking like the dude who used to be walking down Capitol for years.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see him at Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
He at
He
Planet
got
Fitness,
smart,
yeah.
went indoors.
This shit is hot.
Now if we
He
can
had
get
a curl.
My
too.
damn toenail done fell off.
Remember he had that Jerry curl.
I remember.
wait, now if we can
And
get
he
that
wore a
dude
headband,
dancing
an 80s headband. It was around him.
off a locust.
It needs to be coming down, boy.
For real,
MC
he was
said
real
coming down. But no, you know what? I played college ball and we lifted. We lifted weights. I still got calluses on my hands. And I used to tell my buddies, you know, when we get out of school, dog, I'm not walking nowhere near no weight. And I was like dead serious. And I ain't gonna tell you how long it's been since I graduated undergrad, but it's been a long time. And I kept true to them. I think I
We the
went back.
same age. How you gonna tell?
Well, I ain't want them to know. I just told everybody I was 43, right? So there ain't no secret. But I'm saying, like, I went back one time. I started going to the King Center, and I was lifting, and I was working on stuff, and I was hitting the heavy bag, and the boxer dudes tried to bait me in and say, "Brother, come in. You got some quick hands, man. You're heavy-handed too. Come on in the ring." And I said, "Man, you must be crazy as hell. I get in there, you punch me, I'm gonna grab you and bite the shit out of you."
Don't show this a mic.
Right? So and Brother Jason's on me now, like, man. And then he got the nerve to try to call me and test me one day, like, "Hey, brother, on the way to the gym, you want to go?" Hell no, I don't want to go.
You gotta stop resisting.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
gotta
I'm
stop
gonna go because I
fighting for
want
our
to get my
life.
sexy brother Summer back.
I'm glad you told that story because I was getting ready to.
I know.
My version was a little more
Right.
descriptive.
Right. I'm telling myself, damn.
Maybe you need to start a challenge. Let's do an outlaw radio challenge.
wow.
See, now you
Look.
started stuff.
We need
Yay!
You will not be back on the show. Well, no, this goes hand in hand. This goes hand in hand to Miss Serena with her Get Motivated, Get Healthy group. That's why I joined the group.
Let's do it.
I need to join her group.
I'm gonna hook you up with it.
Y'all get with us. Let's make some sort of challenge. Let's get on board.
Well,
and do this
and
thing.
then I said I'm gonna stop drinking soda because I know I'm not supposed to drink soda. And I was doing pretty good. I
can give up soda.
I was doing pretty good.
Just drink a beer.
And
And then
when
one
you
day,
stop, you won't want it. It tastes like
no, you
syrup.
want it when you.
Tastes like syrup.
Now,
Not to me.
I know we got on it earlier. I actually did the keto thing, right, for 30 days.
Yeah, he wasn't eating bread and all this kind of shit.
There's no sugar, right?
Right.
So after you do that for 30 days, and then you try to eat something like everything is super sweet, like it's different.
Yeah.
It is different.
Right.
But that is my addiction. Sugar. It's like crack. You know, sugar is like I ain't never had no crack, but
I was gonna say, is that something you've overcome?
So have you found
Because that's the best diet right there. If your ass
right.
want to lose weight, smoke some crack. Start getting 215 every day. You will be skinny as hell. The doctor be like, "Oh, what is this diet you're on?" You be like, 215.
Your family not gonna let you hold the children no more.
I ain't got no TV, but I'm healthy.
but it's the same. Like the addiction to it is just as is the
So
same.
have you
Addiction
found an
to sugar.
alternative? They got date sugar. They got
No,
agave nectar.
You don't need to do that. You need to just eat some fruit. Eat apple, an apple, a banana.
Well, I can't put an apple on my cereal.
You don't need it. You don't need it. Put some chop a banana up and put it on there and eat it. That's the only way out, or you're gonna stay addicted.
All right.
You know what? Sugar is a very bad thing. It's just like salt. It's almost
crack.
like the opposite end of the
it's like
spectrum.
It's addictive.
Well, she said that. No, it's like
I
crack.
read something that said that it triggers the same areas in our brain as
Really?
like cocaine.
Okay.
When I was like compared it to heroin, but nevertheless, point is still
Right. I see y'all on some exotic drugs. I never tried none of that yet. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
We just seen it.
As I scratch my arm feverishly. Right.
You seen it in the neighborhood.
Right.
You seen what crack does. It's
Acting like rape.
It was illegal. Sugar is just illegal crack.
Right.
You know, that's it.
Look, Facebook is introducing all these censorship rules. We bring you the show live on Facebook. We do YouTube. We got to get our Instagram popping, which we are trying to get. 2 old dudes trying to figure out technology. Both of us got our glasses sitting at the tip of our nose, looking down. Saying, it's that plug that one in over there, So
I witnessed it.
Right
before I seen it.
Right. So, you showed it the why?
They got it together though.
Right.
I give all the credit to this dude right here.
Well, if you can, look, I had to learn. Look, I had to take a crash course in wires, and I know my brother Bear me said that's Kevin hooked that up, didn't he? Look how it looked. But hey, it works, right? All the lights is on, so.
Unless it's last week where not so much.
Well, I kept pressing until
I
found
it. You sitting in the dark?
No, because somebody hit a button on my interface.
Oh, somebody did.
But I tell them damn kids stay out of my studio. But no, I wanted to say, Facebook has all these rules and
we can't say crap.
All this censorship. I don't know what we can and can't say. Whoa.
We take it back, Facebook.
Bro. I'm saying a lot of people are saying, should we boycott Facebook?
Yes.
They already banned Farrakhan, which I am pissed about. But I just think censorship in any form is bad. So because people use censorship to stop us from being aware, and one of the things is the reason why a lot of the knowledge that we need, that we should have acquired for wellness a long time ago, was kept from us by people who decided that they could dictate what was important and what was proper and what we could listen to and what we could learn and what we could read. And I see Facebook kind of reinventing that wheel. America is going backwards in a lot of ways. We know race relation wise, America
make America great
has
again.
taken 10 steps backwards under Trump. And now you slowly but surely censorship is creeping its way back in to even the internet, even though they're not supposed to be the information superhighway. Did nobody say it's going to be a toll booth on it where you had to stop and actually, get checked for, what you're going to say or what you're going to be able to take in terms of information.
But it's not evenly enforced across the board. So we see there's some bias.
Right.
And so is it counterproductive for me, even though we are on Facebook, to say kind of fuck Facebook? Like we need to get our own shit. That there's a site that I found. I promote it as much as I can. It's called Melanated People.
Yes, sir.
It's by us. It's for us. Have both. You can do both. I ain't be either or. So when they put you in Facebook jail, you can go. Express yourself.
Well, because we know some of y'all. You talk about crack. Some of us on Facebook, like, oh my goodness, it's I use Facebook to do my show. You rarely see what I'm eating. Never. What I'm eating, stuff like that.
That's another generation.
I'm not gonna say it's silly because everybody has, they do your thing.
That's a different generation from.
Well, there's some people that's old as I am with their damn lunch on. Talking about to tear this up, y'all.
Well, wait a minute.
Some people that's old as you
You're talking about me. But I do post.
No, I ain't
talking
about
vegetables. No, I'm just saying I do it. I mean, so you are.
She like
so to show people that
apple time when she done ate the damn cupcake. She didn't show the cupcake though.
I do, but I do. If you go on my easy plant base, I'll say it was my birthday. I ate this cupcake. I do.
I'm interested in that. I'm going to check that out.
I just had to
because I don't want people to think that if you walking around pretending like you the sister of Jesus, and people are, how can I be? I have to be real so people can understand that this is how it goes.
Perfectly flawed.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give me no credit for that shit. You always making up words and shit. Pretty ugly.
That's the real shit. Yeah, it's pretty ugly motherfucker.
He's short and tall. He's fat, skinny. Stop it, man. Stop it.
Rough and smooth.
Talk to teach. Talk to teach.
Tell black.
No draws allowed.
I've seen that. But wait a minute. Let's talk about that for a second. Because my husband would, if I brought it to my husband, he'd be like, well, you have to think about it. What were people doing? Like, did we do anything to cause it to happen? Like, we do. Because I'm saying this from, when we go back to why are some of our kids acting that way? Or why are you going down there acting like this to make them impose these rules on us? We need to, our kid, who is teaching our kids to stop? Why are you out here breaking bottles and busting bottles? And why? Because then now that, now we have to suffer the consequences for that. And it's not everybody. It was probably a few people. And now look what happened. Now we got to have all of these rules that are imposed on us. We can't be free at a park. We pay taxes for that.
Well, lakefront has sucked for a long time, though. That's why it sucks. It's too many rules.
But it didn't always suck. So I don't know. It might be a little bit of.
I know you old enough to remember.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of an age difference here. Right. But I remember when the lake was the place to be. If you're going down, but if it's hot, it's going down. It's a car show. everybody whose system go louder, like it was the place to be.
But I'm scared to go to the lake myself because how are they driving?
Nah,
I'm afraid.
I totally agree with you, but what I think a lot of what that is that's addressing the effect and not the cause, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. It's some things that happen down there, right, that give them an excuse to make the rule. But again, it's some things that can happen that can address the cause and not the effect. That's just the effect, right? If you want to talk about crime in a particular area and you address the crime, listen, go put some jobs in that area. It's going to get rid of the crime. So
something for them to do
instead of not to, right? So there's a way to go about it.
Milwaukee, stop it. Stop making up rules. Stop making up all these restrictions. Really, all you're doing is trying to increase your ticket revenue. And I want to tell the city of Milwaukee and the county of Milwaukee, y'all on some bullshit all the way around. And where the law should be made that you don't make them, but where there's not a need for overregulation, you get involved in it.
And that's your alderman.
I tell you what you do.
That's your alderman.
Stop being so focused on trying to tell me what I can't do at the lakefront. Get your ass a plan together to fix our water. Go in there and get a comprehensive plan to get these lead pipe laterals out. Y'all worry about the wrong thing.
Right.
Get this stadium tax off of us that we supposed to been stop paying that we still paying. Like you focus on the wrong thing.
Which is why our kids probably going down there acting
right, because that water.
Right.
Remember they had the thing about the cruising not too long ago, right? And somebody came up with a proposal like, okay, late at night, we got these about a brewer stadium. We got this great big parking lot. It's one across the street parking. Nothing's going on in the middle. Let them congregate. No. Right. So they want to tell you every place you can't go and everything you can't do, but don't want to give you an alternative. And the thing about it is these same people, when you was 19, when you was 21, was you in the house at 10 o'clock?
Hell no, I wasn't in the house.
You was wild.
I didn't want to tell you where I was when I was 19.
So I'm just saying.
I was a square. I was at the house.
Well,
I wasn't.
I feel bad, right?
I wasn't at the house.
I wasn't either.
I was somewhere eating some salt.
Oh, yeah.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? My mama knew where I was.
My mama said, hell no, know where his ass is. But if he go to jail, he better not call me.
Well, wait a minute. Let me. I had kids already, so I had to be.
So you wasn't that
you was out somewhere. You waited. You found some time away from home.
You wasn't that square.
That's because my mama was a CNA and she worked three shifts.
There you go. So you found a way.
I was a square sitting there with my baby. The baby said, "Mama, you was pretty square."
That one summer, I didn't go to Mississippi.
Don't take for one. Don't take for one.
Summer.
Blame it on Milwaukee.
Don't even take the whole summer either.
This would have never happened if I had went south.
If I would have went to Mississippi that summer.
Mississippi?
Now I do. This is something we're gonna talk about more Saturday because we are running short on time. Time flies when you're having good conversation.
Don't it.
First of all, I want to say to my sister.
I ain't get to my notes.
No, you got time. If you got notes, you got time.
Oh no.
If you got notes, because I don't want to cut you off.
We're gonna learn today.
At least get what you think is most important, and make sure you touch that before we leave.
Okay,
because we do. I just want to say this.
Okay.
I did not watch When They See Us, and I know everybody right now is whatever. I didn't watch When They See Us because I'm very familiar with the Central Park Five, and I know what happened.
And it's just gonna piss you off, right?
Well, it's been so many different miscarriages of justice when it comes to people of color and the justice system, the criminal court system in America. We know that the conviction rates are disproportionate. We know all of this stuff. At least I do. If you don't know, like they say, you better ask somebody.
Read a book.
I see people are expressing outrage, but see, the problem that I have with stuff like this is that more often than not, it's just temporary outrage. Like it's today's hot button topic.
That's it.
So everybody's up in a roar right now. And I'm telling you, you see this. Now, this happened in the 80s, right? You see this. The same people who are so outraged by this are not offended by the fact that your former black president, Barack Obama, did not introduce any kind of criminal justice reform. No reform of the court system. You still say how great he is because he's saying Al Green, but you don't got a problem that he didn't do anything to kind of make sure these kinds of things don't. I don't want to say nothing because somebody's gonna pull a law he passed out and say
he didn't pass it for them.
Okay,
let me tell you, he passed it.
I don't want to blame it on him.
No, let me tell you, we're not blaming it. Like he didn't create the system that he took part in, but he also didn't do anything to fight against it for what is supposed to be.
So I'm saying this is temporary outrage. If you really want to do something, if you're really concerned, I see people say it brought me to tears. First of all, you have no life if it brought you to tears. But second of all, vote. Become an informed voter. Stop voting for ineffective incumbents.
So what happens when you vote, right? And you did everything that you could do, and you vote, and you know, they still get elected, or there's a recall and they still and
Right.
you see your people. You see this dude waltzing into your community, going into your church and kissing babies. You ain't seen him since last election. Don't do
You
nothing.
talking about Mayor Bear?
Well, of course. So, but what do you do? And then he still walks away with 60% of the vote. What do you do?
Well, what you got to do is you got to make noise about it. The problem is we throw our hands up and say, well, ain't shit I can do about it. Forget it. I'm going home. Oh, well.
I felt that way.
Right.
I have felt that way. I voted and got all my friends to vote, was picking people up, taking them on the young man. Come on.
Didn't even get no gas money.
No gas money. None of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think one thing, people are just voting for a name. Like, they don't even know anything about anybody.
Right. That's why you
That's
say
right.
informed
Being
vote.
informed
they
vote.
just picking a name.
And
Oh, he won last time. Pick him again.
I'm going to talk Saturday night about the boogeyman. Because, you know, it's some boogeymen in Milwaukee. It's some people who are
Gatekeepers,
pulling our strings and manipulating us. I'm telling you,
house Negroes.
The people who you see on the screen are not who you think they are. The so-called black leaders in this city are not who you think they are. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you're familiar with the term saboteur. Look it up and be ready for Saturday night, because we got some conservative white saboteurs who dip and dab into the black community and say, let me kind of play a game with these people. Let's play chess with them.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a real deep conversation
the distribution of dollars.
The boogeyman on Saturday night. So make sure you holler at us and ride with us on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then I want to say rest in peace to Bushwick Bill of the Ghetto Boys.
They said he wasn't.
Well, I think it's confirmed pretty much that he passed away.
Okay.
I seen his son said, you know, his last words was, "I love you forever," whatever. Not whatever like that, but I don't get mushy. I don't deal with the emotion.
Well, you get moist from time to time.
Well, moist and emotional is two different things, and this is not the show to differentiate between the two.
We'll talk about it Saturday.
Right. We're not going to talk about me being moist Saturday, right? We're not going to talk about that. But rest in peace to Bushwick Bill. If you know me, you know Ghetto Boys is one of my favorite groups all time. I grew up on the music, and then people say, well, Ghetto Boys was crazy. They said all this crazy stuff, but there was a lot of social connotation with a lot of the lyrics, especially Willie D, who's an activist now, who does his podcast and does a lot of stuff.
Willie D, yeah.
Willie D say no more talk, right? So, you know, rest in peace to Bushwick Bill. He passed from pancreatic cancer, I think he did. Mm-hmm. So rest in peace to him. Now, it is Outlaw Radio, Body and Soul. We were talking about wellness. I got a short attention span, so I tend to veer off topic every now and then. But my sister has some notes, so I wanted you to kind of.
You know what? I won't read the notes because it'll take us all day. But I'll just kind of talk about something that I see dialysis clinics popping up everywhere, kind of like the liquor stores. So, what can we do, and why do we think that's happening? And it's pretty much we're piggybacking off of what we've been talking about: healthcare disparities. And then why are they so many? So you talked about not having grocery stores. In our neighborhoods.
Right.
We're gonna have some dialysis clinics though.
Right.
So, you know, we need to look at that. If you know, we need to say, you know, even though
right in between the liquor store and the church.
Right? So this is something that I look at when we say we are in these food deserts, which we know is true. But we can go and we can get somewhere to find some Gucci shoes and Gucci socks. But we can't go and find no lettuce. So we know that we live in these areas, and I know some people, it's not everybody buying the Gucci socks and the Gucci shoes, but things are more accessible. Now I see they letting you put restaurants, you can spend your Quest card at
that was a matter of time. Yeah, that was a matter of time.
So can we spend it on, like, there's services, this is what they need to do, there's services that will deliver fresh foods to your house. You can get the pea pod. I know that's one of them. That might be old one, but I know Woodman's right here in our neighborhood. They deliver.
I go to Woodman's.
They deliver. They'll deliver. Even Walmart will deliver to your home. So people need to know that we can't just say, you know, I mean, we could do it, but for right now, what we need to do is try to find by any means necessary what you can do to be healthy. And so we can have this food delivered to our house now.
That's what's up.
So now what we need to find out is, can we, you know, I don't know. I know they accept Quest, but what about for the delivery charge? Maybe. I'm not sure. So I just want us to look at things like that, because we don't have the grocery stores, but we have the dialysis clinics. It's something that we need to think about.
Real talk.
You know, it's set up, to me, it's like set up for us. You know, because they anticipating that our kidneys are gonna fail.
Well, they
You know, they
planned
got
on it. Right?
yeah. So we got the you know the what you call the corner store.
Mm-hmm.
We got McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's is in your every
Hello,
every hood,
real
right?
talk, yeah.
We got McDonald's, and then we got the dialysis clinics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something I want people to think about. Pay attention to.
That's what's
there
up.
are some things we can do. Although we are a strong people, and we by any means necessary find ways to do a lot of. We get creative.
Mm-hmm.
We find other ways. We find other ways to do what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to be more focused on our health. We need to be more focused on our health and what we're doing to our bodies.
That's what's up.
We only get one. We only get one body.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What you got on your paper, Jason?
Man, we hit all my topics pretty much. Yeah, we touched on everything I wanted to talk about. I'm grateful. Sister Octavia came. Yeah, you're the president of
Black Nurses Rock. Yes.
I tried to get a little information on it. It wanted me to join the group. Like I'm not a CNA and nothing.
Did you go to our website?
Mm-hmm.
BlackNursesRockMilwaukee.org.
Yes.
BlackNursesRockMilwaukee.org.
That's right.
And I want to shout out to the Vice President, Ebony Zollicoffer. I want to shout out to our treasurer, Tina. Shout out to Andrea, our secretary.
Okay.
And then all of our committee leads, Shantae, Chantel, and Deanna. So, hey, everyone.
Right.
Hey.
Now, do you all have anything coming up, like events, whatever? I know
we don't have our own coming up right now, but right now we will be at a few events. So we're going to be at Nicollet High School. I think it's Saturday, 1 to 5. Let's talk about sex. So we're going to talk about reproductive health, STDs. That's my topic because I worked as a nurse practitioner in the high schools. So that's what you see me treated the most. So we're going to educate about signs, symptoms of STDs. We also, fibroids are common amongst minority women. So we have Ebony is going to speak about that. I think we have someone that's going to speak about HPV. So if you come out to Nicollet High School, it's called Let's Talk About Sex. That's the event that we're going to be at. So I don't have the name of the host right here with me, so I apologize for that. But it's put on by a young lady that contacted me, so we're going to be at her event. Also coming up June the 22nd, we're going to be at Jazzy Ray Jewels. It's a boutique. Jazzy Ray Jewels and Accessories. So we're going to do a women's health event there where we're going to have a representative, Patty Hardy from Susan G. Coleman, come out, and we're going to be doing clinical breast exams for those who want them. I think the women's ages 20 to 39 are the focus because those are people who are being missed, especially in the African-American community. African-American women get the most aggressive forms of breast cancer, and it could be because of some of the things we eat in our genetics. And plus we have healthcare disparities where we find out later, because we're not going to get our mammograms like our counterparts are. So we'll be there, and she's giving out gift cards. The Susan G. Coleman representative is giving out gift cards for people who come in and get the clinical breast exam. So I think there's to Pick and Save and to Kohl's department store. So it's an incentive for you to come and take care of yourself.
Right.
That's on June the 22nd at Jazzy Ray Jewels. I think it's 4807 West Felice Street. It's a boutique. And I think John Ray, she went to school with us. She went to the King with us. I think she's going to be giving out a discount on the clothing if you purchase something that day.
Okay.
We'll be doing blood pressure checks. We'll be doing blood sugar checks that day as well. We have coming up on the 16th, Fly Girl with Fibro. Fly Girl with Fibro is having an event. I'm trying to think. This might be a Nicollet High School too. Y'all gonna have to go to my page.
I was impressed. She did all that. No,
she just. And I was gonna say anything you have. I don't know if you're in my Facebook group, the People's News Network.
Yep, I am.
But anything you have coming up,
post it
in there, and I will share it. Or if you just post it and I see it, and I'll share it on Instagram. I'm mad because I didn't get like a stationery, something we could put up in the studio to say Black Nurses Rock or something.
You should have told me to bring it. I would have brought it.
I know. I hope you don't mind. We consider you in front of the show.
I'll come back next time. Next time I'm gonna bring my sign.
That's what's
represent.
And that's what I'm saying. I want to connect because, like I said, shout out to Kamara Carter. We're gonna be doing the Warrior Report. We're gonna be talking about
more wellness,
a lot more wellness issues. Like I said, Miss Brown, who does the Get Motivated, Get Healthy Facebook group, she's putting together some events coming up where she's gonna have people down at 3041 North, which is also a place in the community that we can make available, that you can make available to just kind of use as a venue to create awareness, man, and serve the community and serve the greater good. So I want to thank you for coming.
Yes,
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no problem. Like I said, I don't I don't know everything, so I try to get people who do know something about something that I don't know nothing about, right? So I try to get people to come in like that. And I'm glad you showed up.
Yes.
You did a great job.
Absolutely.
We were very happy to have you here. Brother, you got something you want to drop on the people before we get out of here?
I had a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Nice
anytime
to
you
meet
have
you.
something else, likewise, you come on back.
All right, man. I think I'm going to sign off on my YouTube because I'm going to do that first. I do want to say to everybody on the YouTube, keep supporting. I got a bunch of new subscribers. Keep supporting, man. Keep following. Keep the faith, man. Keep giving us the love. We're going to build this thing up until we get done, until we can't build it no more.
Hey.
But I do want you to know, and I say this to everybody who I come across, I hope you get everything you want, but I hope you want everything you get.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you tune in Saturday night. It's going to be ape shit bananas. We're going crazy on Saturday night. People going to be mad at me after Saturday night show.
Listen.
Black leaders in this city are going to be mad.
Yay.
They're going to be mad.
Yay.
So,
please do.
Right.
Please
so
do.
it'll be on your timeline. The show will be on your timeline. And shout out to Bear Me, who's here with us in the studio.
Yes.
Who used to be on one of the co-hosts on the show. It was in his contract that he could leave and come back whenever he wanted to. So he's taking advantage of that clause right now.
I need to get a new agent.
Right. Well, no. Yours is non-negotiable. So I'll see y'all Saturday night, man. You're out on YouTube. Let's close that out.
Peace.